so much for joining us. As I said, we're going to start laying face down if you're comfortable. And people usually either love or hate this. So set yourself up so that you do feel comfortable. I like to turn my heels in and my toes out. And then I like to either place a block or my stacked hands under my forehead. And you want to feel sort of long in your neck. And then what we really want to happen here is to relax in the hips, in the belly, in the low back. So we're going to begin with this sort of nice full belly breath. Allow yourself to sort of just tune inside. So listen to the sound your breath is creating. Feel how the breath presses the belly into the floor, and the floor sort of gives feedback. One of the reasons I like being prone for belly breathing is that you really do get to feel the expansion and contraction of the muscles around the abdomen. You get to feel a sense of softening in the belly, heaviness in the bones, and then hopefully that combination of softness and heaviness allows some tight spots, especially the front of the hips, to start to release a little bit. So as you're here, just think about the body, the breath, the movement, the natural movement that flows from the breath. And if you need something to focus your busy mind on, just think about the muscles of the low back, sort of expanding and relaxing to accept the breath. Today, I hope to focus our practice on sort of the feeling of inspiration. And what I'm hoping that you'll be able to do is just sort of look inside and find that quiet voice that helps you, that guides you through life, your own intuition. And breathing into the belly here is sort of acknowledging that, right? We use that expression, follow your gut. And there's a reason for that. If you can think about sort of connecting this breath, not only to the anatomical belly, but also sort of the place where we trust instinct and react from not only our experience, but from that sort of, as I mentioned before, that sort of soft voice inside, that authentic voice. So we're going to be warming up the belly quite a bit today. We're going to be strengthening the back a little bit, working a lot on flexion and extension, sort of the yin and yang of that movement in the spine. So take maybe 3 more full breaths just to arrive in the practice. Gorgeous. And then when you feel ready, maybe just bend the knees and slowly windshield wiper the legs side to side, sort of adding a little slow movement to that breath. Noticing how the low back feels today, how the pelvis feels, how the hips feel. Maybe once or twice more in each direction. Gorgeous. And then extending the legs really long, straight out from the hips. And then bring the arms overhead into a little X shape. So you're like a little, or I always love to call it a chromosome. Feel the neck elongate, feel the belly lift into the spine and the tail. Find length. And then on your inhale, lift your right arm and left leg just an inch or 2 off the floor. And feel like you're being gently tugged across that diagonal line of the body. Not too high, very long, and lower down. And then the opposite sides, left arm, right leg. Try to keep your neck long and relaxed. And lower down. And then just a gentle lift of the arms and heart, small. And lower down. And a gentle lift and split of the feet. Lift those thighs up off the mat and lower down. Lovely. Gather your arms under your shoulders, hug your belly to the spine, and pull yourself up and back for child's pose. And really, since this is our first sort of moving asana of class, feel your way into it. It doesn't need to be static. Notice where the breath naturally wants to travel. For me, it's between the shoulder blades. But where I need to send the breath is my hips. Imagine my hands warm and heavy on your low back, inviting you to melt further into the stretch. Make sure your neck is happy. And try not to forget the breath. Gorgeous. Just 2 more breaths here. Lovely. 1 more breath here. Full rounds of expansion and contraction. And then slowly come up to your table. So take your time in table here. Oh, actually grab if you have a strap or band, you're going to place it across your shoulder blades, right sort of at the base of the tips of the shoulder blades. And if you don't have a strap or a band, that's absolutely fine. This will work anyways. We're going to hold the strap between the hands and the floor, making sure shoulders are over wrists and knees under hips. On an inhale here, we're going to lift the tail to the ceiling, extend the spine, and try to reach the shoulders back and down over that band. Lifting into cow, lifting up the gaze through the eyebrows. And then on an exhale, keep the gaze up. Start drawing the tail under you into cat, moving up the spine. Try to keep that pressure on the strap and arch the ribs high up into the band. Now keep the gaze at the knees as you reach the tail behind you. Let the work travel up the spine into your cow again. 2 more times to breath pace. Exhaling to roll through the spine and find cat. Find that belly lift. Put a little heat under your navel. And then let the belly feel supported but long as you lift to your cow, spreading the collarbones apart. 1 more time here, tucking the tail, becoming round, feeling fluid. And releasing to your neutral spine. Beautiful job. You can move your strap to the side if you have one. Now again, making sure you're set up well, we're going to lift the right knee off the mat, flexing the right foot, and draw big, slow hip circles. 3 in each direction. Taking your time and really feeling square in the shoulders, in the ribs. After your third, bring it on around. Move as if you're resisting the air. Try not to let this be too fast. 3 here. Gorgeous. Now press your right leg behind you and turn the hip down. Good. Now take that left hand out ahead of you, pushing through the heel of the hand. Really long and trying not to arch the back. Hold here for a breath. And then press the left arm out from the left shoulder. Press the right heel out from the right hip. Woo. Hold for a breath. Bring that arm down. Reach the leg back behind you. Point the toes, lift the gaze, and lift the foot. Exhale, drag the knee in and curl your nose toward it, rounding your back. Inhale, lift up into extension. Exhale, round, knee to nose. 1 more time, lift up into extension. Or just move through the whole spine. Curl it in, knee to nose. Now reach that leg straight behind you. Bend your elbows. Hover your chest off the floor and lift the toe. 1 more breath. And then bend the knee and place it down. And walk your knees back until you find your way to the mat. Lovely. Bring your palms up and turn your gaze to the right. Soften into the mat. That's it. 2 breaths here. We want to release the wrists before we go to the other side. Return to that belly breathing, that connection of navel to earth, that softening of the back. Oh, one more breath. And then sweep your arms up under your shoulders. Press your way back through child's pose. And find your table again. If you're on a hard floor, you can always roll your mat under once or twice and just give your hands a little extra cushion. If your wrists are unhappy too, sometimes bringing the fingers lower than the wrists, so propping the palms up on the mat and fingers running off the front can be helpful. Okay, other side. So find that table position. Lift the belly up to support the spine. Let's float the left leg up, flexing the heel, and start with those slow hip circles on the other side. 3 times in each direction, weaving breath in, and again, sort of resisting the air. And after the third, you take it the other way. The pelvis doesn't move too much though. This is really a stirring of the thigh bone in the hip socket. Gorgeous. And after the third, we'll press that leg straight back, pulling the toes down and turning the hip down too. It's very natural to want to turn out. And then we'll sweep the right arm up overhead and press through the heel of the hand. And just notice if your back naturally bows. It's common, but you just want to draw your ribs down toward your hips. Now we'll sweep the right arm to the right, pushing out through the heel of the hand, and the left leg to the left. Hold and breathe. Look straight down at the mat. Lift the belly. One more breath. Bring the arm down. Sweep that leg back and behind you. Point the toe. And start to lift up through the spine, looking up through the eyebrows and stretching the leg so far behind you that the back bows. Exhale, draw the knee in toward the chest, round the heart. Inhale, reach back up. Look up through the eyebrows. Good, 2 more times. Exhale, draw it in. Try to lift up and out of your wrists. Inhale, stretch those collarbones. 1 more time. Exhale, pull it in. And this time, press the leg straight behind you again. Bend the elbows. Lift the toe as you lower the heart to the mat. Hold for 3, 2, and 1. Place the knee down and wiggle your way back to your belly. Turn your palms up and your gaze to the left. Take these little moments of rest offered in your practice, and don't think of them as a pause or a part to throw away. They're important not just for the integration of the work, but also because it is the natural yin and yang of life, the work and the rest, the work and the rest. Both equally important. 1 more breath here. Beautiful. You're just going to gently lift your gaze a little bit. If you have a strap, grab it. Or a towel, this will work. The towel, we're going to hold the strap behind the low back. Make sure the legs are nice and long. They don't have to touch, but we don't want them spread way apart. Press down into the tops of the feet. On the exhale, gather your abdominals up and into your spine without squeezing your glutes. On an inhale, roll your shoulders back and down, lift your heart, and stretch your arms towards your heels. On the exhale, slowly lower to that start position, perhaps tapping your nose to the mat. 2 more times. Your hold on this strap can be narrow or wide, whatever works for your shoulders. Inhale, make it feel not just a straight lift, but a lifting out and away from the waist. And I'm not lifting that strap too high. Exhale, lengthen down. Just 1 more time, like you're stretching out your spine. Reach the tips of the ears long. And then exhale to lower back to the mat. Gorgeous. Place that strap aside. Bring the arms back underneath toward the shoulders or armpits. This time, inhale, lift up a little higher. And then walk your left hand a little further toward the top of your mat. Push into it and take the right arm and thread it through underneath the left. Wiggle those fingers away from you, palm down, until your heart turns. Now, if your head is happy, you can just continue to gaze at the left fingertips. You could always plop a block under your head. Feel that stretch across the shoulder line. Try not to let the hips roll open too much. And then press back into that left hand and come back to center. Reach the right arm toward the right corner of the mat, giving yourself a little space for the left hand to reach through and wiggle the fingers away from you, turning the heart to the right. A little effort in opposition, but more effort in the left hand than the right. Stretch between the shoulders. Let your neck feel long, as I mentioned earlier. You could always rest your head on a block, but we're not here for too long. One more breath. And come back through center. Bring your hands back under the shoulders. Lift the belly for one more child's pose before we move a little more bigly. Puppy is always great too as well. You could always leave the hips above the knees. Whatever works best for your body right now. I want this to feel restorative and relaxing. Stay for 3 rounds of breath. Breathe in and out. Gorgeous. And then unravel the spine. We're going to place the hands back under the shoulders. We're going to get ready to move from plank to downward facing dog. If you have blocks that you'd rather elevate on, please do. In fact, I think I am going to use those today. All right, so once your hands are settled under your shoulders, start walking your legs back to full plank. Gorgeous. Stay here for a breath or 2. And we're going to really move from plank to downward facing dog. So a lot of us need a little softening of the knees to press up and back. Inhale, lift those hips high. And you want the tail to be the leader here. So don't worry so much about the bend in the knees. Make sure your tail is up and back, heart reaching for thighs. Pinkies wrapping around into the mat so that we wake up the side body. Inhale, high up onto the toes and unroll your way back to plank. When you arrive in plank, press back through your heels, lift your thighs, hug your belly into your spine. Strengthen up, shore up between the shoulder blades. One more breath here, and then inhale, send your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Get out of the wrists. Being in downward facing dog should feel like a little break for the wrists, because although you're grounding the hands, you're really lifting up and out of the wrists, away and back. Yeah, and if it feels uncomfortable, your feet might be too far away from your hands. Inhale, lift high on the toes. Exhale, unravel that spine back to plank. Gorgeous. One more time, up and back, downward facing dog. And this time, make some movement if you need to. Maybe pedal the feet, maybe sway side to side, bending the knees and lifting up and back, whatever you need. One more breath here. And then bring the knees down to the mat. Come down onto your elbows, whether they're on blocks or not. Drop your head to the mat for puppy. Prayer hands behind the head might feel nice on your shoulders. If not, don't do it. One more breath here. And then slowly come back. You can sit all the way back or prop up on the knees. We're just gonna release the wrists a little. So we'll bring the forearms together, palms together, clasping, and then keeping the forearms as close as possible, rolling through the wrists. Maybe 3 or 4 times in each direction. Got a little more work to do. We're gonna really try to build some heat in the center one more time. Lovely. So when ready, we're gonna land those hands again. Step back to plank again. Now from here, we're going to keep the shoulders and heart square, but we're going to swivel the hips over to the left. I'm rocking onto the edges of my feet, but I'm really trying hard to stay square across the torso. And I'm going to feel the obliques kick in on my left side. And hold for 3. Keep your neck nice and long. Your ears remain over your shoulders for 2. Last one. And then as slowly as I can, keeping the hips as level as I can, I'm going to come through center. And as slowly as I can, I'm going to take the hips to the right. Again, staying square. There might be one side you enjoy more than the other. And hold for 3. After this, we're going to get off the wrist and out of plank for 2. Build that heat in your gut, that intuition. Think of the passion that fuels and fires you as you come back through center. And release your knees down. Beautiful job. All right. Make sure you have nothing in your way as you swivel onto your tail. Gorgeous. Sit up really tall. Stretch your feet just about hip distance apart, not too wide. And you might need to soften your knees a little to sit up tall, especially if you've been playing some ridiculous backyard sports. Inhale, breathe your arms up. Turn your heart toward that left leg and try to reach with a flat back toward the toes. Maybe take your right arm to the outside edge of the foot and twist a little over that left shoulder. And you can grab your knee as well, or your shin or your thigh. Other arm just relaxes down the body, but we want to try to stay somewhat long. So keep lifting your heart and your gaze, and then release back to center. Inhale, breathe your arms up, turn the heart toward that right leg, and then reach, maybe bringing the left arm to the outside of the right foot to twist a little. So we want to start to stretch the backs of the legs, but we're also adding a little rotation, keeping the spine long. Thinking of heart toward leg instead of crown toward leg. So the back is sort of hinged flat. One more breath here. And then gently release. Sitting up tall with the feet flexed. You reach the arms all the way up overhead. Tuck the tail and roll as slowly as we can down to the mat. Keep the legs sturdy and strong. Take your time. This is about spinal articulation and belly control. All the way to the mat. Gorgeous. We're going to bend the left leg, placing the foot on the ground, and bringing the hands under the low back. Good. Feel your heart open and your shoulders glide together. Inhale to prepare, and on the exhale, you're going to lift your right leg and curl your ribs down toward your hips. Come into a little forward flexion. Inhale to lower back down. So make it simultaneous and balanced. It's like the leg and the head sort of move only to the same height. Inhale back down. Good, let's try 3 more. Exhale, really be aware of your ribs sliding together and folding down and lower. Keep that leg super alive and don't jut your chin, right? It's the curling of the spine that brings the head up, not the other way around. Good, lower back down. Keep a neutral pelvis. Last one. And lower back down. Beautiful job. Bring your hands behind your head. Good. You're going to take this right leg, lift it up off the ground as you curl your head up, and draw the knee in toward the elbows. And you're going to lower the spine all the way back down. Imagine that leg sort of swooping out and away from you, bending the knee and curling up, and then lowering back down. 3 more times. The exhale helps you because this is a big lift all the way up from the floor. Curl it around. Inhale, stretch back down. 2 more times. Swoop up and in. Inhale, lengthen. And if it's too much to go all the way to the floor, just hover that leg. You don't have to go all the way. One more time. Scoop out and away from you. Come up and in. And then this time, place that foot on the ground. Again, bring the hands to the low back and extend this time the left leg, foot flex. Make sure your right foot's in line with the sitting bones. Roll the shoulders back and down. Effortless neck here. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, fold that leg up, curl the ribs down and look down the body. Good, inhale down. Really pull your toes toward your nose. 5 times, exhale up. Inhale down. Be super aware of what's happening between the ribs and hips. Exhale up. Generate a little fire in the belly. And lower down. 2 more times. Exhale up. Keep your chest wide. And down. Your hands are protecting the low back. 1 more time. And down. Now the hands come behind the head. We're going to point those toes, scoop the leg out and away as we bend the knee and curl toward it. Inhale to lower head down, leg all the way down if you can. Exhale, scoop out and away with the leg and pull the knee in. Inhale, lower back down. Remember, your hands are just supporting your head, not dragging it. And back down. Don't worry about coming close between the knee and the elbows. That's not important. Scoop it up. Lower it back down. Last time. Scoop it up. Now hold it here. Extend your right leg out and away from you. Like you're scooping up from the floor. And switch, turning toward the right. And turn toward the left for bicycles. And every time, feel like you're scooping the leg out from the floor like you did earlier. And turn. So turn your torso. So your shoulder is coming toward your opposite knee, not the elbow. Last 4. And 3, scoop out and away. Think of the long leg more than the bend. And 2. Last 1. Carefully bend both knees. Lower your head and give them a hug. Release the hips. Nice job. Bring the soles of your feet together and your knees wide. You could prop your knees up on blocks, but we're going to make this active. We're going to push the feet together and then bring the arms up overhead in cactus. Feel your gluteal muscles squeezing together toward the midline and let that sensation wrap around the psoas muscle and into the hip flexors in the front of the hips. Draw your shoulders together. If you have to lift up your heart a little to bring your shoulders toward your spine, that's fine. Try not to let go of that sense of activity in the feet. Sometimes this shape is very restful. Right now, it should feel very active. Hold for 1 more breath. And then come to stand back on the feet. Bring them right out from the sitting bones, but close as you can to the sitting bones, so they're parallel. Hands by your sides, we're just going to roll up and down, in and out of bridge, slowly, really filling out the breath. So on the inhale, we tuck that tail under. We start to feel into the legs. We squeeze the glutes as we lift the hips, finding the 4 corners of the feet. And then very slowly, we surrender the heart toward the mat, keeping all that activation in the legs as we work our way down 1 vertebra at a time through the spine. Finally releasing. Feel the belly hold here before you release to your neutral pelvis. 2 more times at your breath pace. Pull that navel up and in as you rock to the back of the pelvis to begin your journey up to bridge. That's it. And then notice what it takes to be in control of your spine as you roll down. Notice how the hamstrings, the quadriceps, the gluteal muscles all contribute. And then really invigorate the pelvic floor on your last one. Really think about the deep fibers of the belly, drawing up toward the diaphragm. And then lifting high. We'll hold here, the top on this one. And we'll stretch the arms up straight above the chest. Think of energy shooting out your fingertips and over your kneecaps as you hold for 3 breaths. Be aware of your thigh bones, that they're not rolling open. If anything, they're rolling in, like your inner thighs are magnetized. Create a little heat here in what is truly known as the core, not just the fibers of the abdominals, but reaching down into the legs, where most of our power comes from, this sort of midsection of the body. Last breath, and then as slowly, truly as you can, with the fingers reaching either straight up or back overhead, roll down through the spine. Take your time. And then when that low back hits, again, pull the knees into the chest and make some nice hip circles. Either your knees together or apart, whatever works for you. Good. Breathe just for a few breaths. So now if you have a strap or band, now is the time to use it. We're going to place the ball of the right foot into the band and stretch it to the ceiling. If not, you can place it behind your thigh. Okay. All right, so from here with your strap or your band, I'm just going to start with a few ankle rolls in each direction. So try to move your whole leg, but work through the ankle and see how that changes the stretch in the leg. Now from here, we're going to draw the thigh toward the chest. And then we're going to curl the head up toward the knee. And then we're going to scoop that left leg out and away from us like we did before. So the leg in the air should feel very supported by your arms. Let the leg away from you feel very supported by your abdominals. Your neck should feel really nice and relaxed here. Getting both a stretch in the legs and also a little bit more fire in the belly. One more breath. Now we're going to bend that left leg, bring it into the strap. Take the right leg out and place it on the floor. Good. We'll plug that left femur bone into the socket, relaxing the head. Move through some ankle rolls. Gorgeous. And then begin to draw the leg toward you. And when you feel a stretch in the hamstring, that's enough. You don't need to keep yanking on the pelvic attachments. And then curl your head and shoulders up if you wish. And then take that right leg, scoop it out and away from you. Yeah. And I know you all have strong bellies, so let the belly sort of support the long leg, and then just think about the stretch in the left leg. Again, your knee doesn't need to be stick straight. Sometimes playing with that position helps you find a better stretch. One more breath here. And then we're going to bend the right leg and place it in the strap next to the left, lower the head. And then we're going to spread the legs apart as far as is comfortable for us. You might not have a ton of room. You might not need it. You might want to put it behind your thighs instead. Yes, but relax your head. So we just want to stretch the inner thighs a little bit. And when you arrive in your straddle stretch, you should feel very supported by straps if you have them. If you don't, maybe bring your hands to the outsides of your thighs in support. And you might want to play with how it feels to first turn the toes out, and then maybe how it feels to turn the toes in. Get a different stretch running up the outside of the leg. Maybe the IT band, which can be so tight for so many of us. Gorgeous. Stay here for 3 breaths. I find this to be a very restorative position. To me, it resembles legs up the wall a lot, but in a nice wide position that gets some stretch into the inner and outer thighs. Now make sure your navel hugs up and in a little bit, just to protect your low back, even though it's supported work. One more breath here. Now slide those legs together. Remove whatever you have as you reach the legs for the sky. And as slowly as you can, lower your right leg down to the mat. Hug the belly in and elongate this right leg. And then as slowly as you can, lower the left leg. Oh, and then when both legs land, stretch your arms overhead. Draw your toes to the ceiling. Feel that low back lift and release a little bit. Gorgeous. One last breath. Beautiful. Bring your arms out from your chest, palms up to the ceiling. Come and stand on your feet. Cross that right leg tightly over the left. Lift your hips and place them 1 inch to the right, and then let the knees roll to the left. Big spinal twist here. Oh, look back toward your right open palm as you anchor that right shoulder. So once you get into the twist, have this constant effort of right shoulder down, knees away from shoulder. One more breath here. Hopefully you get a nice release for the spine, but also a stretch up and over the hip crest. And then use your breath to come back through center. Release the cross. Center your hips back under your spine. Left leg crosses over right. Lift the hips and place them 1 inch to the left, and then let the knees roll right. Gaze back at that left shoulder, left palm. And again, it's that anchoring shoulder that allows for the twist to spool away. Lovely. Big breaths here. Return to that feeling of heaviness in the bones. One more breath. And then we're going to roll to the belly. And I'll give you a second to do that because I know you might need to see me. You might need to turn around. If you don't need to, it's fine though. All right. Beautiful. So from here, we're going to do a little bit of extension work before we actually come up to stand. And then you're going to say, wow, standing feels so good. So make sure there's nothing in your way and that you feel really long on your mat already. So arms and legs are coming to the four corners. And we're going to lift this whole shape up. Gorgeous. We're going to keep the legs apart and bring the arms together overhead. And I know this is hard for a lot of you. And then we're going to bring the legs together and pull the elbows apart down the back. So we're moving in sort of oppositional ways in the arms and shoulders and legs. Legs come apart as arms come together. Legs come together as much as possible as elbows sweep down, little angel wings. We're going to try this 3 more times. Inhale, legs apart, arms overhead, touching if you can. Exhale, legs together, pull into the back. Let's do one more time, actually. Arms together, legs apart. And then legs together, arms apart. Now hold this lift in the heart. Bend the knees, flex the foot, and lift the thighs. Like you're a little skydiver. Lift your heart, lift your heart, lift your heart. Squeeze your glutes, squeeze your shoulders for 3. And 2. Almost there. 1. Lower to the mat. Bring your hands under your head, bend your knees, slow windshield wipers. Whew. All right, time for some standing work. So when you're ready, bring your hands under your shoulders. Press your way up into Cobra. Could be small or big at this point in class. Yeah. Heavy hips, heavy legs. Inhale here. Now do this carefully. Exhale. Pull your belly up. Draw your tail down. Come up and back. Walk your hands back. Inhale, rise up onto your knees. Let's step the left leg forward. Come into low lunge. My legs are in shock. I'm doing so much mat work. Stay here for a breath. Now press down through the arms. Come back to your right knee and take that left leg out to the side. Sweep your left leg down, left leg, excuse me, down, left arm down, left leg, come into your side bend. One more breath here. Gorgeous. Lift up tall, return that knee. Right leg steps forward into lunge. Sweep the arms up if it feels good. That's it. Hopefully, believe it or not, but all the work we did on the mat, your hips should feel a little more open, even though we didn't do a lot of concentrated hip stretching. It's all connected. The backs of the legs and the low back, the pelvis and hips are all connected. One more breath. Now lift out of that carefully. Take your right leg out to the side, land the foot. Slide your right arm down the leg and side bend to the right. Keep yourself really lateral here. Try not to twist. If anything, open the heart to the ceiling. One more breath. Come back up. Come to your knees. You don't need knee blocks, but if they're at the top of your mat, that's probably the best place for them. We're going to come up to stand. You can come up to stand any way you want, but you might be able to tuck your toes under, sweep your arms back, and lift right up. Let's see how Lance does. Good job, Lance. All right, come to the top of your mat. Ready to flow a little bit. All right. Inhale, breathe up, gaze up. This should feel nice now. Exhale, bow over those legs. Hips behind you, round and humbly bow over them. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold and plant your hands. Step your left leg back and turn it all the way open for warrior two. Spin your way up. So whoosh, windmill. Now let's trust into this front leg. Let's really open that knee toward the pinky toe. And then make sure your spine resides very balanced between the two legs. Lift those arms from your back and gaze over your middle finger. That's it. And then as you stay in warrior two, you might find you can go a little deeper. But if you go deeper, don't let it bring your chest forward. Yes, and there's this constant opening of that femur bone. That's really important. All right, now, if your low back is happy, we're going to add some abdominal work to this, okay? So we're going to take the back arm, sweep it forward, and lean forward like we're holding a big beach ball. Good. You should feel your abs kick in a bit. Now, on your inhale, you're going to extend that front leg and sweep the beach ball back behind you. Move slowly and see how it feels. You can always bring your hands behind your head instead. We're going to dance in and out of that 3 times. So we're going to exhale, bend the knee, keep the ribs lifted, but reach the fingertips. Trust back into that leg and keep it open. Good. Inhale, extend the knee, sweep up and back. That's it. Relax your shoulders and head. One more time. Exhale, bend the knee, reach forward. You got this. So all this is working for you. Inhale, extend the leg, reach up and back. Now this time, when we bend the knee and come forward, we're going to bring the forearm down to the thigh and find side angle. And I want you to really push into that leg with that arm and open up the ribs on the top side body. Bend into the lunge a little bit more. And now take this arm and float it to me. Yes. For 3. For 2. Last one. Bring your arm in, lift yourself up, and turn to face me with both hips. Nice and wide for goddess. Inhale, breathe your arms up. Exhale, as you glide down, send the knees wide and feel into the outsides of the feet. Gorgeous. Think of your spine as super tall and long, like you're stacked up against the wall. Beautiful. Now from here, we're going to arch over to the right, sweep, arch over to the left. The legs do not change. Inhale as you pass, exhale as you briefly fold. Yeah, and so what we're feeling here is strength in the leg, that connection to the earth. Openness in the side body. Softness around the neck. Gorgeous. Now this time we'll take it up, bring those elbows wide, and you want to make sure you're not arching, right? So find your posture. And now we'll rock side to side, maybe a little more slowly. And I really want you to feel like it's your obliques that are dragging you along. Gorgeous. One more time. Beautiful. Now hands come to the thighs. We turn the toes forward, forward fold. Release the work. Lift your tail high. Drop your crown low. Bend your knees and lift your hips a few times if you need to. Just get the legs long, get the weight back into your heels. Play with your ankle position. Your heels could be out and your toes in. It could be in parallel or really turned out. One more breath. Relax your head. All right, now make sure your toes are turned out. Not too far apart. Inhale, lift halfway, so feel your long back. Exhale, fold. I know your legs are wide. Inhale, reach behind you and rise with wide legs, which might not be easy. Exhale, hands through heart center. We're going to turn into warrior two in the other direction. Just swivel your feet. If you can't see me, you'll be fine. We're going to do the same thing we did on the other side. Okay. So make sure your back foot mirrors the back edge of the mat. Your front leg, you're trusting into it and rolling it open. You're lifting your spine to split your legs. And then you're lifting, not from the tops of the shoulders, from the mid-back and wings. Gaze over your middle finger. Trust into that leg a little more. Feel both of your feet. Both feet are holding you up equally. Good. One more breath. Now we're going to dance. So we're going to take the back arm and sweep it forward like we're holding that beach ball. And then as we inhale, we'll extend the leg, stretch through the spine, and come back. And this felt better on my first side, so I'm going to be easy with myself on the second side. Exhale, bend into that knee, stretch forward. Lift the belly. Inhale, extend the leg. This is nothing to breeze through quickly. Pay attention to your neck. Exhale, bend and reach. One more time. Inhale, extend. Come back. Now, the last time we exhale, we bend and we bring that arm to the thigh. Finding side angle pose. Try to get space around your ear. Get the extension even through the top of the fingers. Trust into the leg. Just a little bit more. Then use your belly to lift that arm and reach it toward me. Yes, you can do this for 3. Use the obliques for 2. Last one. Gorgeous. Now we're going to lift up the shape. Turn to face me, toes out. Now instead of goddess, we're going to be side lunging. So you might even need to be wider than before. So we're going to start with hands at the hips. We're going to bend one knee. And then slowly switch to the other side. So we will be pitching forward, but not yet. First, feel your way into your hips and inner thighs. Everything's open here. It's a real opening up, not a rolling in. And your spine stays up straight and tall. Breath is important here. But now if your back feels safe, let's bend into the right knee. We're going to sweep the arms forward, kick the tail back, and reach with a flat back. And we're going to move side to side here. If you don't feel safe, use your hands along the floor. Lift and switch. Really hug your belly up. Yeah, and everything side to side through the legs. Gorgeous. Just one more time to each side. Slow, slow, slow. Come back through center, forward fold. Choose your leg position. Gorgeous. Now with a come up, we'll make sure the heels are in, the toes are out. We'll sit down one last time in goddess. One last time to add rotation. So shift through your shoulders. Push into your legs. Your legs are strong and solid. You're not on any joints. You're not really moving your legs. Turn your torso one more time. Gorgeous. And then tuck your tail under and roll up through the spine. Step to the top of your mat. We're going to vinyasa down for the last time. Can you believe that? Inhale, breathe up. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands. Step back to high plank. Let's pause in chaturanga. So drop your knees now if you need to. Shift forward. Bend your elbows. Hover. For 3, or 2, or 1. Lower to your belly. Nice job. We're almost there. All right, make sure you feel very linear. We're going to reach the left arm back to the left leg for half bow. So do what it takes to get there first, and then bring that knee back in under that hip. Right side is heavy for now. On an inhale, breathe your way up. Lift your thigh, push into your hand, lift your heart. This might be enough for you. If it's not enough, reach your right arm overhead. And if that's not enough, lift your right leg. It's your final extension. One more breath. Lift your heart. And then lower down. Whew. Ready for the other side. Right arm reaches back to right foot or ankle. And then make sure your femur bones are parallel before you come up. Shore up in your middle. Inhale. Push foot into hand. Lift heart. Lift thigh. That might be enough. You might reach your left arm overhead. You might lift your left leg. Keep it all into the midline for 3, for 2. Last one. Lower down. Oh. Feel your belly breathe into the mat. Lovely. We have 2 more working asanas before we settle into a well-deserved rest. So if you have a strap, a towel might not work well for this, but if you have a strap or band, you're going to lay it across your mat, and then you're going to lay down on it so that it's under your shoulders. Okay. Let's start with the legs. Let's take the feet to the edges of the mat and let the knees knock in. So those femur bones roll medially. Sometimes I go, like I have short legs, sometimes I go too wide on this. You want to feel like it's not too much work to have your knees come together. Gorgeous. Now you're just going to leave the ends of the strap accessible here. You might want to put them like on your ribs. Inhale, breathe your arms up above your chest. Cross your right arm over your left, giving yourself a hug. And if you have a strap, grab the tails. Make sure you're getting the right thing. And then you're going to pull your hand, walk your hands as far as you can down the strap and hug it up and in for a really nice shoulder stretch, hopefully. Even into the neck, frankly. If you don't have anything to grab onto, just grab where you can on your body. Grab your shirt, grab your shoulder blades, grab your opposite elbows, whatever works for you. 3 settling breaths. And then slowly release. We're going to do the other arm, of course, on top. So make sure you can still grab your strap or band if you want to. Breathe the arms up overhead. Make sure your shoulders are not lifting up off the mat too much first. Cross the left arm over right. If you liked grabbing those straps, please do. You could have your head supported on a block or a pillow for this as well. Imagine that with every exhale, there's just a little more space available to you. Just breathing alone into the mid-back and the shoulders allows for this expansion. Gorgeous. One more breath. And then gently release. Before Shavasana, we're going to come into one final asana. And I'm going to suggest supported fish, especially if you have blocks, because we've done a lot of belly work and it might be really nice to open those abs up a little bit before we rest. But if you'd rather do supported bridge, legs up the wall, happy baby, any of this is available. So supported fish, if you're not aware, the lowest setting of block usually for most of us comes to rest the lowest point of the shoulder blades. And then we arch over to a waiting block. The low back feels long and happy. So here, I'm allowing myself to open the front body that did so much for me today. Whatever you choose to do though, just start to get heavy and relax and start to tune in to that center again, that sort of place where we imagine we hold our deepest instincts, the part of our soul that we can return to, trust for guidance, but also the part of our soul that sort of ignites the fire within, that gives us a sense of purpose and passion. Stay here for 5 rounds of breath, getting nice and heavy. And after your 5th round of breath, you're going to fall into your well-deserved Shavasana for final rest.